The images of the Great Depression are a frightening reminder of how the fortune of the roaring 20s came crashing down. Wandering homeless and unemployed, soup kitchens, and bread lines for the starving. The fear today, with so much economic turmoil, a volatile stock market, the disaster of the housing market, bank failures, and consumer anxiety, could it happen again?
I don't think you can compare it. I don't think anyone realizes how dismal it was at that time and desperate. It was sad.
Jan and Ray Newcomer were kids during the Great Depression.
There I am and my sister Mildred.
They lived through it and remember vividly how different it was from today.
I had no toys. I probably had one pair of shoes, probably 2 shirts. Mom made the shirts. Couldn't buy anything because no money. No one had any money. I don't think I had a nickel. I know I didn't because I don't know where I get a nickel.
Well, it was frightening because back then I do remember people talking about the men jumping out the windows, and because they had lost everything. It was really a bad time. My father used to talk to the hobos in the back steps, and then he'd come in and he'd say, "That man was a doctor." I mean, they were professionals that had no jobs. I mean, people didn't have jobs.
It's estimated unemployment during the Great Depression reached 25%. Today, it's just over 6% and expected to get worse. But most economists say it will go nowhere near Great Depression levels.
Certainly, we have some of the same downward trends that we saw during the Great Depression. But the differences, I think, are much starker.
The Great Depression lasted a full decade, from 1929 to 1939. University of Tampa economics professor Dr. John Steinspring says the reason it was so long had to do with how the government responded to the crisis, from raising interest rates and taxes to decreasing the money supply.
These policies by the federal government and the monetary authority, that is the Federal Reserve Bank, perpetuated by almost every economist's standards what would have been a bad recession and made it into the Depression. And so let us hope that we've learned from history.
It appears we have.
The motion is adopted.
The $700 billion bailout approved by Congress is one colossal effort to try and stimulate the economy.
America is a strong nation.
Treasury Secretary Paulson used the term bazooka. He said the federal government doesn't just have a gun to handle this problem, to kill it in its tracks. It's got a bazooka. It has brought out the bazooka, and it is firing away.
Another major difference between the Great Depression and today has to do with banks. Today, although we've seen a handful of major banks like Wachovia go under, it's nowhere near the massive bank failures we saw in the 1930s, when literally thousands of banks went out of business for good.
The FDIC has been able to take troubled banks and immediately find buyers for them. This is relatively impressive. You don't get the sense that that happened in the Great Depression. You get the sense that it was one bank failing, then causing a run on other banks.
The economy is expected to get worse before it gets better, but it looks like we don't have to worry so much about a Great Depression too.
We'd have to make a lot of the same mistakes we saw before, and that seems unlikely.
It took World War II to finally turn around the extreme poverty and despair of the Great Depression.
As soon as the war started, World War II, and then everyone had jobs. They went into defense work. And the fellows all left, went into the war, and the women worked.
Mr. Newcomer fought in Patton's army, and Mrs. Newcomer worked for the government.
We had pretty good jobs, government pay. Yeah, then I really went shopping. Are you ready for your wine?
I'm ready for mine.
So the newcomers aren't so worried about a crisis worse than the Great Depression. At 91 and 83 years old, even if they have to cut back a little today, they say it simply can't compare.